So welcome back to the road to 25k, turning £1,000 into £25,000 by flipping cool cars. Now in the last video we bought this Fiesta XR2i for maybe a bargain, maybe not a bargain, we'll find out today. So today we're going to pull the Fiesta inside and we're going to try and get the engine running, and we're going to see how bad the rust is as well, because yes, it's rotten and yes, it does not run. Now things don't exactly go to plan in this video, so get your popcorn and I hope you can enjoy my misery. I hope that door's open, because the keys are in there.
Oh no.
How to break into a Fiesta 101. Watch this. Right, so welcome back to the road to 25k. So to honour that, we need to get rid of this Caddy pretty ASAP Rocky ting. And I can't wait to get rid of this because I hate the sight of it. I hate the sight of it. I hate the smell of it. I hate the look of it. So we want to get this out of it. To be fair, quite annoyed I bought this, but then I get annoyed that I bought all the cars until I sell them at the end and I make good profit. So I don't know, let's see. So to get rid of this, we need to do a few more things and we can pull in the Fiesta inside. So in the last video, you've seen that we bought the little XR2i Fiesta. I'm really excited to get started on that, but to start on that, we need to get this out of the unit. So there's a few more things we've got to do. We've done all the hard work. We need to just take it for a drive. Yes, it's still smoking, but the amount of oil that was inside the exhaust is going to be smoking for probably quite a long time. So we need to get this blasted down the motorway to clear all that out. So we've got a load of parts here from Autodoc to finish off what the Caddy needs. Now I decided to go on Autodoc because everything is so much cheaper. A couple of years ago, you had to wait. It was sometimes things would take a week from Autodoc, not gonna lie. But now they've really updated their kind of factories and stuff. So this came in like 2 days, and I got everything, and I got this for a fraction of the price of what it would have cost me from getting from the local shop. And I've got everything in here that I need. So we've got a battery first and foremost, some manual oil, 530 manual oil. We've got fuel filter, air filter, oil filter, and some brake and clutch cleaner as well, so I needed so. So this is everything that I need. I can't remember how much these were, but I'm going to cut back to in the past tense Lee Lockwood. He's going to tell you how much this was and how much this would have cost me from a local parts shop. Thank you, future Lee Lockwood. Here is the order that I got from Autodoc. Here are all the parts that I got. I did change the oil last minute, but so it's motor there. I've got manual. Just forget about that. And it's coming up to £175, and I've used my discount code, which is Lee5, and it comes to 170. I just put the exact same parts in your mainstream parts thing that you always drive past every single day, and it comes to £213. I just saved around 40 quid ordering from Autodoc. And if you do want to use some stuff on Autodoc, there is a link on the screen now and a discount code on the screen so you can save money as well. So if you've got a couple days to wait, you're not in a huge rush, but you'd rather save some money, Autodoc is bang, so get on them. You know, in the last video, I kind of prepared myself to do this. So I did the hard work in the last video. So we're just gonna whack this in here. This is the first, I'm gonna call it paper fuel filter that I've ever done. Every single fuel filter I've done has come inside of its metal casing. But this is a paper filter inside here. I've never actually done a car with a paper filter. Oh, something happens. Yeah, what the hell? So what seals? Oh, there's an O-ring. Okay. Oh, there he is. I mean, that's not too bad. But I was expecting worse. Let's get that in the bin. The irony of the last video I uploaded on YouTube was me engine swapping a car from scratch, and then this one is me struggling to do a fuel filter. But it gets worse. The easiest job on the planet, known as changing an air filter, became one of the most difficult tasks I've done on the Caddy because all the screws were rounded off. Right, we're going to try the old school trick, vice grip. I'm going to squeeze the top of the head with a vice grip. I mean, it is actually working, but because I can't spin the vice grip, it's not. I can't spin it because of plastic. Fuck! Shitty cars! What's easier? To get a shell of an S14, weld a shell up, put a BMW engine in there, turbo it, or change an air filter on a van. I'm gonna have to get a special tool, and I potentially might break the whole airbox. But so this is an impact driver, quite a cool tool. So what happens is when you whack it with a hammer, it digs in and spins. So if I push this now, you'll see it spin. Obviously, it's not meant to be made on plastic. I reckon this filter's been here for ages because everyone's just gone, fuck that. And you got one like me who has to film it on YouTube, so I can't just fucking pretend it's been done, you know? Like I would do if I weren't filming this. Yeah, air filter's been changed. No, it's not. Go on, prove it then. Have a look inside, or we can't. Well. Good tool, isn't it? Right, let's cut the camera. I'll just suffer with this on my own.
Now I did manage to get most of them out with the special tool, but I did have to get the airbox and a vice grip and do it the old-fashioned way to get a couple of them, and they were just completely rounded, but we got them off. Of course we did, we're not scared.
We got them, that was a pain. Watch this filter be brand new in here now, it wouldn't need to be changed. Whatever, it is what it is, let's change it. Well, you want to guess what this is?
Yes.
Go on, what did you guess first? A rocker cover?
Yeah.
It's not a rocker cover, no. What else could it be?
A sump cover?
A sump cover? If I knew what one of them is, then I would probably be able to answer
That.
Now, what are we changing?
Filter cover?
We're changing a filter, yeah, but what filter are we changing?
Oil filter?
No, that's what we did there. What other filters could you change on a
Coolant
service?
filter?
No, there's no coolant filter. It's the most popular thing. If you go to get a service...
Air filter! Air filter!
An air filter, right, so it's an air filter. So, what is this then?
Air filter cover.
It's a cover, but it sits in it. If you're packaging something up, what would you put it in?
A parcel?
Parcel or...
A box?
A box. So it's a box with a what?
Filter box.
But what filter?
Air filter box.
An air box.
Air box.
It's a box with the air.
We got there in the end.
Now I did find some leftover screws in the box. Are they matching? And yes, that one of them is a wood screw, but do we give a fuck? Do we fuck? Right, let's put some brown oil in this engine, which is going to turn it black in about 10 minutes. And let's take this piece of shit for a drive.
Oh, the smoke.
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke in there still. That's a 1.9 TDI. You've not seen all them videos on Facebook where they take the piss? It's like, they'd be like a Raptor, a US Air Force plane, and it's going 1.9 TDI powered Air Force. And it's going past it, it's going dugga 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 dugga. It is still pretty smoky. This is what I'm getting worried about. The thing is with this Caddy is that it's still pissing oil out from around the exhausts, manifolds and stuff. There's no oil in there. So I genuinely think that's just leftover oil. There's just so much oil in there. So we're gonna have to pull it out and just drive it and just, you know what, I mean, potentially there still might be some kind of another issue with the van, which, I don't know, deep down I hope it's not the case, but part of me saying that there is still maybe another issue. So all we can do is drive it and hope that the smoke clears up.
Now there's one thing I've been dying to do since day one that I bought this Caddy is take this stupid splitter off. I hate them, it looks so stupid.
Look at these snazzy glasses in here. Belt and hose. Why have we not got any power steering? I know my tyre's flat, don't worry about that. First drive. The steering has gone so heavy. I didn't know if these were electric or... It's not going to get out. Or... pump. But I was thinking, I've not even disconnected the power steering. And it doesn't have a power steering pump, which means that it's electric. So I don't know why the steering's gone super heavy. I don't know if it's because it's been discharged for so long that it just needs to charge or whatever. But I can't turn unless I'm doing 5 miles an hour.
But I've just done a few little pulls before I forgot to tighten the wheel again. And it's not actually smoking. Okay, it is a little bit, but not as bad as it once was. Don't forget, still need to get all that oil out. Now, I need to insure it, so I need to ring green light in a minute and just put it in insurance. But I didn't want to insure it when something was like clearly still wrong. So I was going to just do a few up and downs of the unit. I'm not sure, that's neutral. I'm not sure why the steering's so heavy. So a big one at the minute is that the power steering is not working at all. Now I've got a VCDS here and I've got 2 codes. One of them being supply, in fact I've got a load of codes on there and all of them are supply voltage too low. So a load of systems have basically like shut down because obviously I've been probably starting it when the battery's been on its last legs. Now I'm clearing them all and most of them are clearing, but these 2 aren't. So I've asked ChatGPT, I've researched this code 00778, which is a steering angle sensor, and ChatGPT is saying this is probably why my steering isn't working. So I've got to recalibrate the steering wheel. So basically right now the system's totally shut off and the car has no idea where center is in the steering wheel, so it's not engaging the power steering because it's electric power steering. So I'm going to follow this thing that ChatGPT is telling me what to do, and hopefully that works. And I couldn't get it working. I was outside for a good hour on VCDS trying to get this to work, trying every calibration, every reset. Nothing was working. Every time I went onto the code, it just kept saying 0 degrees, which means the angle sensor is just not recognized at all. So I gave up because I couldn't bother with this anymore and I wanted to work on the Fiesta. So if anybody has any idea of how to get my power steering working, please message me on Instagram. I'll be forever grateful. Or even better, come around to the unit and do it for me and I'll buy you a beer. Legends.
That horrible German diesel pain in the ass 1.9 TDI shit box, there's going to be a lot of swearing there, out the unit, and we've got the cool little Fiesta in. I've been excited to do this. I think that's why I was getting even more annoyed at the Fiesta. So, at the Caddy. So we've got the Fiesta in here. Now, we know it needs some welding, and we know it doesn't run. I think we'll do the fun thing first, and I think we try and get this running so we can hear it, and it's going to give us the motivation to get the welding done. Now, I'm not going to jack it up and even have a look at the welding just yet because I think it's going to be worse than I thought. So I think let's try and get this engine running first and foremost, and let's hear that 1.8 Z-Tech. Boom! Right, now instantly I can tell there is 0 coolant in there, which is worrying to say the least. Let's just say that. It's absolutely worrying to say the least. So I think the first thing we're going to do is, before we start putting a battery to it and trying to crank it, I think the first thing we're going to do is just see if it spins over by hand. Because if we start cranking that and that timing's out, then we potentially might kill an engine. I think it's okay. I think it's going to be okay. But there's no harm in finding out. So down here, this is the cam belt here. At the bottom, the crank pulley is going to be down there. So we'll try and get a socket on. Hopefully we can get this bit here. We'll get a socket on and we'll just start turning the engine over and just see if it does a couple of good rotations.
So let's get her up in the air and let's turn this engine over so we know we have a good base start so we can start cranking it and hopefully get it running today.
Okay. Oh. It's turning and I've got compression. Oh. Now, you know you've got compression where it'll get really tight and then it will loosen off. So in a minute it's going to drop really quick and it goes loose again. So, good news. That means that she's going to crank. So first of all, we're going to get some power to her. I'm just going to turn the key, you know, and just see if it spins over with the key and go from there. It's really hard to get this socket on. Stole battery from the Audi. We're just going to send it, I think. That was a noise.
Now I didn't know it yet, but that noise was bad. Really bad.
I hope that door's open. Because the keys are in there.
Oh no.
Do you know what that noise was when I put the battery on?
Looking.
I think that was a central locking. I can see the keys here. They're there, they're staring.
Oh no.
They're staring at me in the ignition. Oh no, this is genuinely not good, guys. Oh no. No, the boot's electric. The thing is, if we can get a bit of a rod in here, we can just pull the door. Should be able to get in it. All we've got to do is just get a bit of a wedge in here. Because look, I can get through there. Bollocks. I can do this. We can do this. Watch this. How to break into a Fiesta 101. Watch this. See that?
Where's that long rod?
I'm nearly here with this. Oh my god, it's gonna
Drive me to the handle. Where is it there?
If you come a bit further forward. Can you pull your side down? It needs to come up higher on this side a little bit. Yeah. Right, you're on it there. Go on. Whoa! What a guy! What a fucking guy! That was weirdly too easy for two random guys. Right, we're gonna go for a crank. Right, it cranks. It's obviously not running. It's not either getting fuel or it's not getting spark. So we're going to do some nice and easy tests here. First easiest job ever is we're going to pull that coil pack out. Going to stick a screwdriver in the end of it, and we're going to arc it on something. Right. Now what should happen is when I'm cranking, we should see a little spark. This is going to be your job, Jess. Right. So an engine needs three things to run: air, fuel and spark. So we're getting spark. So you can see it arcing against the engine cover. So that means that this coil pack is working. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to check fuel. So we're going to find the fuel rail and we're just going to pull off one of the fuel lines. And when we're cranking the car, we should see fuel squirt out. If we don't, that means we've not got fuel. Find the fuel rail. So we've got a fuel rail here. Now one of them, this might be a bleed valve actually. Right, we've got a Schrader valve there. So, when we put our screwdriver in this valve here, if we've got fuel, it's going to squirt out. Nothing. There's absolutely no fuel in there. That's like a pressure release valve. So when I press that, it's going to open up the fuel rail. So there's, as you can see, there's absolutely no fuel in there. So the reason it's not running is we've got no fuel. So let's go into the fuel pump at the back. Let's have a look if we can see the fuel pump wiring, and let's see if we can give it 12 volt and see if we can get this baby running. Fuel pump usually, there it is. Someone's been in here before. So this is the fuel pump wiring. So what we're going to do is we're going to check. We're going to get a multimeter and we're going to check all these wires. Now there should be 4 wires. Yeah, so there's 4 wires. So one wire is going to be the positive for the fuel pump and the ground for the fuel pump. And one of them is going to be the positive for the fuel level sensor and the ground for the fuel level sensor. So the easiest thing to do is just look at them and look for the 2 biggest wires. They're going to be the fuel pump. Yeah, someone's really been in there. Look at this. They've cut it all out and pushed it all back in itself. They've been struggling with that. So we need to figure out if it's the fuel pump itself that's dead or it's the wiring, and we can easily figure that out. Oh look, someone here has chopped this wiring back on the positive. Now that means that someone's put a 12 volt live to that to get it started. So someone's been in here trying to fix this, and that says to me that it's not getting a positive from the ECU or positive from the thing. But this is an old car, super easy. We just find an ignition live, send a wire to it, and there's our fuel pump. Bosh. So let's just check that it is the positive that's the issue and it's not the ground that's the issue. So we're going to set our multimeter to continuity. So right now that says 1, which means continuity is basically checking if they're talking to each other, if they're connected to each other. So basically, what we should see is continuity. They should go down to 0 when we touch these together. So you see it goes down to 0. So that means that it's a loop. It's connected. It's a loop. So when we take them off, it's 1. So basically, this is good if you want to find one end and then connect to another end. So it's perfect for finding grounds. So we're going to connect to a ground like this. That's grounded. And then we're going to put a wire into the plug on the ground. So that basically means does that wire go back to a ground? Does it communicate to a ground? So we're going to stick this in what I think is the big ground, which is this one. And yeah, we got ground. So look at this. So the connector's coming out a little bit. So we got one there, and when we connect it to this, it goes down to 0. So we've got ground. So it's definitely a 12 volt issue, and we can confirm that by putting our multimeter on volts, which is going to measure voltage. We're going to wrap our multimeter around that positive wire, connect this to a ground. And we're going to have a look when we're cranking what voltage we're getting there. Now, if we get no voltage, there we go. If we get no voltage, then it means that just the wiring that's wrong. If we get voltage here, it means that the pump's dead. So let's see when we're cranking. I mean, we should be getting it there really. So we're going to crank. Nothing. So it means somewhere the original fuel pump wiring has been chopped. Now the guy did tell me that he had the immobilizer cut. So I think that taking that immobilizer out, they've severed the connection between the fuel pump and the ignition battery. So it's pretty simple. All we've got to do is just find a fuse box and just find a fuse that has a 12 volt. All that pump needs to know is when the key's on. When the key's on, the pump's got to run. Simple as that. So we got to all we got to do is just cut that wire and send it into a fuse which is on when the key's on. And then we're going to have fuel. And we're going to hear this puppy purr. Right, so before we start finding and jumping into the fuses and trying to find an ignition live, we just want to make sure that the pump actually runs. Let's get the car running. So I'm just going to get a wire, which is great when you do so many engine swaps, because I have just tons of leftover wire and loom here. And we're just going to run a wire straight from the battery to the fuel pump, which means it's going to be constantly live, and then we can basically start the car on that. Wire, send it straight to the battery. Don't have to be perfectly safe or crimped at the minute. Just get it wrapped around there. Straight to the fuel pump. Now as soon as we touch that, we should hear the fuel pump whining, because that's just gone straight to the battery. So we should hear it whine when I touch this now. I can't hear anything there. I can't hear anything. And I should be getting, it's not popped off that battery, has it? Now I've got two wires here. One goes straight to the negative side of the battery, and the other side going straight to the positive side of the battery, and it's not turning on. I can't hear it whining. I'm getting no fuel pressure up top. So we're gonna have to start opening this up and see what's going on inside there. It might be a problem that the actual fuel pump itself might be dead. Which could make sense. You can see someone's been in here quite a lot trying to cut it all open and stuff. So we're gonna pop these fuel lines off. If it's simple out, probably just a squeeze and pull maybe. But we need to pop these fuel lines off and see if we can get inside this tank. I don't know how the fuck you get these stupid fuel line fitting connectors off. I've pretty much broke one by trying to squeeze in the tabs. They're just not moving. So I managed to get one off. This one is just seized on there. I can't get it off and it's snapped. So it is what it is. I may as well just fucking chop this off now and ruin it. I've managed to save one. The thing is about Ford is that they use plastic everything, and I hope that's not the whole fuel line.
Now, ruining that plastic connector is not ideal. It's not something you can just fix. So I'm going to have to trace that plastic fuel line back and pray it goes into something metal or rubber so I can replace it. But for now, I may as well just chop this connector off. I had to just cut this out further. I couldn't even get my hands on the fuel lines to get them off. So I had to just take a grinder and just push further back. Someone before has folded it back and cut it and folded it back, but it's still not enough. I don't know how the hell you're meant to get your hands on them fuel lines with a tiny little circle here. It's outrageous, man. Just come in. Right. And now, I mean, that should really... Woo! That's that's the smell of the 1990s.
What the fuck?
This stinks. Look at the state of that thing. Wow. Fucking hell. Wow. Luckily the tank is plastic. So the tank is plastic from what I can see, which is good because look how old this is. The actual fuel lines in the fuel have started rusting. The sender unit started rusting. That is the filter. So it's probably best to change that anyway, but this is the pump. Oh my God, that's meant to be rubber. Wow. Oh my God. Oh my days. That is crazy. Oh my God. That feels like, wow. So it's probably best to change this anyway. Wow. I had to break one of them fuel lines. One of them weren't coming off. It's interesting to see this. It's meant to be rubber. So this is not good. It feels like silicone, but it's not silicone. Look at all this here. Oh, fucking hell. Look at that. That is literally meant to be rubber. Oh my God. So we're gonna have to get a new fuel pump or something. We'll put straight power to it here, but the fuel pump is dead. I know it is because we was basically putting straight earth and live to them anyway. So we'll try it just to rule it out, just to make sure we wasn't getting anything wrong on the wiring loom. But I'm 99% certain this fuel pump is dead. Nothing. Diddly squat. Fuel pump. Effing. Oops, touch them together, don't do that. Dead. So, new fuel pump is needed.
Right, so we've ordered a new fuel pump. Luckily, we can actually get one. There's one on eBay. It was like 57 quid for a new fuel pump. So we've got a new fuel pump. But I'm probably going to try and clean that up as best as I can in terms of the fuel lines. I don't think there's any holes or anything. I think it's just a little bit surface rusted. So we can get it sandblasted, that'd be great. We're definitely...
Sorry, camera died. We're definitely going to have to change that fuel in the fuel tank as well, because probably all that rubber is probably just disintegrated onto the fuel, and God knows how dirty that fuel is. So we're definitely going to have to siphon that out. Throw back to when I almost swallowed a ton of fuel from the Kawasaki build. What a horrendous day, so I'm definitely not doing that again.
Do this the old-fashioned horrible way.
We're going to get this thing running. I'm happy with how it's cranking. It sounds good cranking. I think we've got good compression. Now we just need to get it running, and we need to sort out the rust as well. So in the next video, we're going to start jacking it up and having a look how bad the rust is. But I think it's time for me to order some new floor pans, because it definitely needs it. So we need to get rid of all this trim and see how bad the sills are, because these Fords are not good on the sills. And right now it looks okay, because we've got all these side skirts. So once they come off, I have no idea how bad it's going to be underneath. So we love you all. See you in the next one.